Welcome back, everybody. Welcome back to Phil's Recap and Review. This is for The Sopranos Season 2, Episode 13, the season finale, and I guess I just need to say it. It's the death of Pussy. The death of Pussy. Pussy is over. Pussy, pussy, pussy. I know you're not supposed to curse in the first 30 seconds of one of these videos, but I don't give a fuck. Pussy, 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 pussy. No, it's the death of Pussy. And it's kind of a big episode of The Sopranos. I know we were here last week. Matt and I will get into this, but we're excited, or I'm excited. I know Matt's probably partially excited too, that we made it. We actually did it. We finished something we set out to do. We wanted to finish.
I was just going to say this. You and I have made more like just sort of timelines for when we're going to do this podcast for the last 7 years. And I want to hand it to us for finally
doing something
that we said. Now, we said we're going to get this done by the end of the year. Now, it may be December 30th.
Oh, we might be cramming the night before the test. But we
just got in there.
We just stuck it in there. We've been pushing for a while, but everyone, we appreciate that. And we know that popping on in here every once in a while. We appreciate you guys that check this out live or check this out throughout the week. Matt and I have been at this for 17 years now that we've been trying to do this podcast. But we're finally.
This is the first time we hit one of our goals.
Yeah,
we're going to do this no matter what.
Yeah, so I'm very happy. We do have two people in the live motherfucking chat right now. We got Killmonger and the Real YT. Thank you guys for checking out the stream right now, and to anyone else that pops in here anytime throughout this episode, and anyone that watches this later on YouTube as a video or in any kind of podcast form. If you ever want to leave a comment or a question about The Sopranos, you can do that at 781-990-8509. Again, that's 781-990-8509. It can be about any time period in The Sopranos, because on this podcast, spoilers and time frame don't exist. We're not doing this in the way that we're ignorant to the events yet to come. We're completely... We live in a post-Soprano world here. So we will take questions and comments from all over the series at any point in time. So if anyone wants to leave questions for that. Tonight we're here a little bit earlier than we usually get, because we got to get our degenerate co-host to the poker game hosted by Feach Lamont. And I think Frank Sinatra Jr. is going to be there and stuff too. We got
and who else is who else goes to the it's
David Lee Roth.
David Lee Roth, yep.
Lawrence Taylor also goes to the games. And Big Daddy Matt will also be at that table. And give him the money. I see Spots in the live chat, one of our amazing supporters for so long. I see. Thank you so much for all the support you give on Patreon and all the being able to help us out here by popping in the live chat and showing us some love. And also just want to make one quick announcement for any people watching this live. Joe and I will be out. Joe Dirty Locks will be making his glorious return to the channel on New Year's Day. Basically, I don't know what time it's going to be, but at some point New Year's Day, Joe and I are going to do a review, discussion, breakdown of Season 3 of Cobra Kai. We're going to stay up till 3 a.m. or try to on New Year's Eve and watch and immediately watch the episodes and come out that first day with a reaction. And any of the patrons that support me on Patreon, after each episode, I'm going to do a quick little one of those lens reactions to each episode individually to give you guys a little something extra. Anyways, thank you again, and here we go. Let's get into The Sopranos. Jasmine Breaking Bad Sopranos. One of the best names of all the live motherfucking chatters, especially when we get into Sopranos, and one of Matt and I's favorite discussions. Oh, my voice just cracked like the big O. Favorite off-air discussions about Breaking Bad versus The Sopranos from
That's actually characters. The impetus for why we started this.
Yep. And I think eventually at the end, when we do finish The Sopranos in 2038, we will do at least one podcast where we examine that thought, where we do something with compared characters. Because I think when you get down to storyline and tightness of that's a different episode altogether. But let's get into this. What'd you hear? What'd you say? What'd you hear? What'd you say, David?
And Phil, I want to just do one thing, because we didn't do this at all last week, even though we wanted, like, shockingly, we didn't hit another one of our goals that we said we were going to do.
Oh,
we were supposed to give out Tommy points. So Casey Jones died this week, another Celtics legend, just passed away, who was like a coach, won a bunch of championships, coached a bunch. So first Tommy points tonight go to us for actually meeting our goal this year.
Yeah.
All right,
let's lick our
get Tommy points.
Let's lick our bums. Yep. And Killmonger says Sopranos better than Breaking Bad. Jay in the live chat. Great to see Jay. Great to see Jasmine. Great to see everybody. And yes, we'll also I also want to give a Tommy point and say a rest in peace to Marianne from Ginger and Marianne from Gilligan's Island that just passed away.
Oh, that's right.
Well.
Was that today?
Yeah, just today. And I was always a Marianne guy over Ginger. Marianne and the Professor, if I had to get to a guy too. Marianne and the Professor.
That's fair.
Yeah. I mean, like, who else do you have for dudes on that? I mean, I guess Gilligan's a type. I mean, I guess I'm a Gilligan type. Like I'm gonna fall upstairs.
There's a type for Gilligan?
Yeah. I mean, I
didn't know that was a type.
I think clumsy, goofy, little dude. Like I think that's me. Like I fall upstairs. You went to elementary school with me. You know how clumsy I am. It's
well aware.
It's that of legends. I'm not exaggerating to say that my clumsiness is renowned. I'm not saying I'm the most famous clumsy person in all of the town we grew up in, but I am one of them. I would be on the Hall of Fame, on the Mount Rushmore of our town's clumsy people.
Yeah, he would be, and I will say this: it is a crazy testament to hard work or dedication that within that clumsiness, he has managed to be a renowned percussionist and have a good basketball game for someone that is out, uncoordinated. It is shocking.
In fairness, especially the basketball game, the clumsiness has worked to my advantage because people don't know what to do with me on the court. Because I'm like a disaster, and I create almost a Tasmanian devil like thing around me on the basketball court.
He always dribbles, and it looks like the ball's about to leave his hand and go in the other direction, but he maintains it somehow.
Yeah,
crazy.
I have decent dribbling and decent passing. You know, my shooting is meh, but like it comes and goes. But I'm a good facilitator on a basketball court, and it's funny because you're right. I am clumsy. I trip all over myself, but I think that helps my game. The percussion and the musical, I don't know how that works. Yeah, Walking David can verify that I can walk upstairs and
fall upstairs.
Fall upstairs all the time. And so everyone, the episode that we're watching tonight, if you want to watch this with us, and if you haven't done one of these, basically what we're doing is we're going to watch an episode of The Sopranos, similar to a recap show, but instead of just talking about it, we're actually going to watch the episode live and react to it. If you've never watched this episode before, I don't recommend this being the way you watched it because we're going to be talking all over it, random discussions. Also, spoilers aplenty, as I did in the second moment of this video, talking about Pussy's death in this episode. But the episode is season 2, episode 13. We'll give you guys a few seconds to get together and pick up on it, to pick up the episode right now. Let's see.
And then when we do it, as we have to say this every week, we're going to go backwards. 3, 2, 1, and then go. We're going to go on go, not on 1.
Well, oh shit! I've started.
He's gonna restart it.
I'm gonna restart. Yeah, it's 3, 2, 1, go. Correct, right?
But that wasn't the go, right?
No. That's definitely not the go.
No, okay. It's 3, 2, 1. Then we go on go.
Mandrell, how do I? And I will talk to you about that. Jasmine, message me at igotissuesman@gmail.com. Absolutely. Let me figure that out right now. It's too many things to do at once, but I will add you to that.
He can't even start the
I can't even start the video right now. So it's at some point
uncoordinated thing, like we just discussed this.
Jay, who is in the live chat, and David is as well. Jay had to remind me for like 3 years to make him a mod, and I meant to for 3 years. So it will happen. I'll do it at some point. But Mandrell, falling upstairs is you trip at the bottom stair as you're coming up the second stair, and then you fall face first onto the stairs and you stumble a little bit. It's or you slip and then you can fall down and up. So technically maybe it is falling downstairs, but it's in the transition of going upstairs. It's not like
the action was initiated going up. It
right.
wasn't,
right. The action was initiated going up, but you still are falling in a down direction because gravity is a fucking bitch.
It is.
And there's no stopping that.
Unforgiving bitch.
An unforgiving bitch that is gravity, Matt.
Yeah.
Okay, so Matt, I don't want to put us up too much against time here, as it's still in the.
Don't worry about it. We're good. But
we are, but let's get. I'd rather have the time to rant a little bit afterwards and have some extra time. And yes, Mandrell, you can imagine the visuals. I am a clumsy bitch. Okay, so 3, 2, 1, go.
No, not now.
No. I know that wasn't. That,
Oh,
no.
Jesus. So you said that with the enthusiasm that was it, without any warning. All right.
No, I was just confirming that that's what we're doing here. Okay.
3, 2, 1, and then you say go, and we both hit play on go.
Okay. Phew. Okay. I'm a little crazy right now. I had one shot of vodka. I'm freaking out. Okay. So here we go. 3, 2, 1, go. Here we go. Oh yeah.
I think somehow we did this 2 weeks in a row.
We're almost perfectly synced. I like it. It's not that tough to do when you really try. I mean, we're gonna get off a little bit.
Just screwed it up a little bit right there accidentally, but
you
we're fine.
Bastard. Okay, so woke up this morning. Mandrell says this is one of my favorite episodes. This is one of my favorite episodes too. Someone mentioned it earlier. I think Killmonger said, I love the Dream episodes. I think this might be my favorite of all the Dream episodes. Maybe Test Dream, which comes later, which is a little bit more complete. But I love some of the visuals in this scene. The scene with him and Milfy in the dream is one of my favorite moments between him and Milfy, when he's just sitting there with the heart on, and she's like, "What do you want to do with that, Tony?" And then later in the episode, when he sees her, he's like, "I had a dream I fucked your brains out," and she just doesn't take shit from anybody, and she just you hit me like that, like a barrel or bricks with it, then you asshole. I love the progression of Milfy that you see in this episode at the end, when she's past being afraid of him and doesn't give a fuck anymore. This is an episode that we can rag all we want on the actor that plays Pussy, but he brings it home in his performance at the end of this episode, being scared, and then that scene with the 4 guys on the boat that we get to. In a lot of this other episode, there is a lot of hints and leaning towards us getting onto that boat. A lot of water stuff. We also have Gandolfini playing sick and stomach poisoning very well. And is that the reason why he realizes what's going on with Pussy? Because he notices it in a dream. And also,
there's some eggplant.
Oh, this is the last shot Livia episode. Everything after this that we had Livia, the one time we had her parents, it was a composite digital Livia. This is the last real Livia. And it's our first Barbara.
It's our first. Wasn't there one Barbara before this? We're making that up.
We could be making up. We need like a soprano expert on
Barbara.
This.
Yeah.
But this is my favorite.
Maybe if we did this in the period, if it wasn't spread out over 7 years,
I know.
right now.
I can't remember. It's been so long since we watched these stuff. But my question is, and I wanted to mention this last week, but how come Barbara is so normal? How did she get out of this?
Because she just got away. Because I'm assuming I'm assuming
Janice is the old.
Janice. So I mean, that's part of the whole thing. Those middle kids just sort of get like they have the easiest time out of anyone. It's the oldest ones that get all like they get the parents when the parents are overbearing and don't know what the hell they're doing yet. And the youngest ones get spoiled, and the middle ones can just sort of like get out of it and be the least screwed up. So,
and my episode froze for a second here, so I'm not quite synced up. I'm stopped at 2:45 here for a second, but let me. All
right. Well, you tell me when you're moving again.
I'm moving again right now. I rewound it a few seconds.
I'm at 3:06, so tell me when you get there-ish.
Yeah, I'll get to it. And we can be close. It doesn't matter too much.
Right.
She is the youngest, but she still had the same crazy ass mother. So it's interesting to me that she. It's freezing at the same spot for me. Fuck. What time are you at? 3:01.
3:08 now.
Okay, I'm at 3:04, so we're close enough.
Okay.
So interesting thing here as well that Tony fucks up here. He gives her these tickets, which ultimately ends up in her being arrested at the end of the episode. A question I have, just thinking about this as a long form in this episode, is how would have the series, and I want to ask this to you at the end, Matt, before we get into season 3, how would have things have been different if Livia did not die? If the actress that played Livia did not die? Because they were obviously setting something up here with her in these airline tickets, and Tony fucking that up in a moment right there and giving her those tickets, which ultimately costs him being arrested at the end in some other case. Clearly the pasta got passed to Tony and Janice first. Clearly.
It did.
Clearly, someone didn't get doubles on the cannolis, Tao Tao. Great to see Tao Tao. Great to see some of my friends from the Teflon streams in the live chat. Love you guys. And speaking of love, the wonderful, the amazing Bridge 4 in the live motherfucking chat. Can't stay for this since my Jersey ass still hadn't seen The Sopranos. Just wanted to smash that like button and tell you all, I love you, bro. Keep smiling. Love you, buddy. Mandrell, fuck this. They're never coming. It's the writing. She would be just as... It's the writing. She would be just as fucked up. Maybe it's that it is the writing that they didn't want to develop another character. Because I agree. I think she would be just as fucked up in some ways. And I also want to mention...
She could be that fucked up. We never see her from... What's her total on-air screen time? 10 minutes? 15 minutes in the whole show, maybe?
And that's what I think he means, that because they didn't develop her as a character, it's hard to know really how her mind... Right. She could be fucked up at home and fucked up in a different way. We just don't know it.
She could be so fucked up she had to leave and get out of there because, like...
100%. And I do want to also mention this scene right here, this little montage that we're having, where Tony starts to put the pieces together with Pussy. The song that they're playing is a Keith Richards song. They were talking about this in the Talking Sopranos episode. I love it. I think because the Stones are so famous, some of Keith Richards' solo stuff is underrated as a performer. I think he has a decent voice. I like Stone songs when he sings, and yeah, that's all I want to say. I think Mick Jagger's a little overrated, and Keith Richards is a little underrated as a vocalist.
Mick Jagger's very overrated.
I'm not saying I don't like the Stones, but I think Mick's a little overrated as a lead singer compared to Freddie Mercury, Robert Plant, or any Beatle.
Even Steven Tyler.
Or even Steven Tyler, yes. So right here, Tony notices, and we're a little off on time, but Tony's noticing Pussy explain this to Furio. Do you think ultimately this is the last seed Tony's brain needs to do the automatic pilot thing he does while he's dreaming about Pussy being a rat? Hearing how well Pussy explains this? Or... At least I'm saying that's what I think, Matt. What do you think about that? I think Pussy explaining this too much was the last thing. It's the look on Tony's face right there. He's like,
well, he does that again with something else. When the hell did he do it recently? In one of the episodes, he starts over-explaining something.
It was last
plane
episode.
Tickets.
Plane tickets. Last episode.
Yeah.
Killmonger says Pussy starts to say too much at the table, like it's being recorded. Mandrell. Right. So it was in the Indian food or the mussels that made him sick? And that's a good question, Mandrell, because I was listening to, again, the Talking Sopranos podcast, as I'll reference a few times, that do this better than Matt and I could because they were like on the show. And Michael Imperioli, as further mentioned on the show, Christopher says that he thinks Tony isn't even food poisoning at all. It's none of the poison. It's the guilt for knowing at this moment right here what he has to do with Pussy that causes his body to have like a shutdown, in the way that when you deal with a tragedy sometimes you can't eat and your body can get sick, and definitely emotional shit can make you sick in real life. It's happened to me, and I know it's happened to a lot of people.
And it happened. And Tony, we see so many. He has so many physical reactions to just stress around him, and anyways, like this whole.
But as Tao Tao says, and the muscles, they came up undigested. I love how you guys are all quoting the episode in the Laugh Show. How many seasons of this show are there? 6.5, Jay. Ultimately 7. They have a similar end to the Breaking Bad with the 2 half seasons here. Gabby asks.
Again, that was their thing. Like everyone copies that and has 2 half seasons now. Not everyone, but a lot of people do.
It's like the Beatles with the White Album. Everyone does the double album after them. It doesn't happen. Gabby S. Great to see Gabby S. in the live motherfucking chat. And Mandrell, I don't know. That wasn't necessarily. I'm not going to say that's a unique thought for me. I've heard that presented by other people, and Michael Imperioli was making a decent case for it. Yeah, they did. They loved him so much they didn't shoot him in the face. They gave him the painless death. They show him a lot of love here. I actually can't wait till we get to that scene. And I also heard that when this episode was written by David Chase and it was directed and with all the dreams and everything, the reason why they went into this was more. David Chase said, I didn't want it just to be a normal mafia. Tony figures it out and gets told by an FBI agent. I wanted to do something more surreal. So we got the idea of doing it like a funhouse, like the whole thing. And that's why the episode's called Funhouse. Like from Tony's perspective, he's in a funhouse this whole time. And how do we get him there? Oh, through getting sick. So So that's how they got to the food poisoning and the sick thing. So
So she apparently has forgiven him.
I mean, she's so super. I mean, she got a mink coat.
I also think it's the mink coat. It's also her calling up his mother's house and Tony answering the phone.
Yeah. Jay, we should do 4 episodes a week. Yeah, we'll do that. That's our plan.
If we do 4 episodes a year, we're like, honestly, I think that's probably about our rate at this point. Is 4 episodes a year.
But I'm more thinking that we'll get season 3 and most of 4 done next year.
Yeah, I mean, as long as COVID's around, this will be like we got nothing else going
as
on.
As long as I got Matt as a captive audience, he can't get away. It's his only social engagement. So
seriously.
So as we have, so we'll be continuing bi-weekly, and we'll see how many we get done. So which we probably should get 3 and 4 done next year. But I'm stopping from making any promises. So Carmela, yeah, she is sexy, and for people know that listen to this podcast, I think I have a little Edie Falco thing. Not as much as
he has an Edie Falco thing. He also has a thing for Tony's mom.
Yeah, Nancy Marchand. Yeah, I'm all about Nancy Marchand.
You know how tall she is? She's like 5'10" in real life. She's to like 6. She's very tall.
Edie or Nancy?
Nancy.
Interesting. So here is the first dream of many. So in this first one, Tony says he's got cancer and he's gonna die, so he decides to douse himself in gasoline here. And in the dream, everyone and all of his friends are looking at him except for Pussy, who's just looking straight forward.
It's also different in these first couple seasons because Tony, Paulie is still considered a very close friend of Tony, and I think that's totally different at the end. Like here, it's like the way this goes down at the end, it's him, Syl, and Paulie almost all on the same level, equal with each other.
Do you know what was very?
By the end.
Yeah. No, I'm sorry. No, finish.
I was done.
Oh.
So.
No, I think it's interesting though because like. I started watching The Sopranos not at the beginning. I think I watched like the first 2 or 3 episodes, and then I lost track of the series because I lost HBO. And then I didn't start watching again until season 4. In season 4, Paulie's away the whole season. So then I watched like seasons 4 through 4 and 5 until that long break we had before 6 came out because there was that whole rumor it wasn't coming back. And then I went back and watched the original seasons. And to me, I always knew Paulie as the outsider, so it was interesting going back and watching him be part of the crew, so and being more accepted and less like the annoying pariah guy in some ways. But So Tony wakes up in the middle of the night and starts talking about how life's a whole big nothing and all this horrible stuff. But then he just realizes that it's his stomach, not his head. And we get some of the most amazing sound effects ever with the farting and the puking sounds for Tony. Like make special notice if you happen to be watching this episode about the sound effects that they use with Gandolfini when he runs into the bathroom. And he plays this really well. This sick, like.
His physical acting is like there's no one as good as him.
No, really, and that's what just one of those things that makes Gandolfini so amazing at what he does. He has the physical actions of a comedic actor at times, like the way he moves his body, but then he can really center it, like the chicken vizsla. And then the fart sound right there at the end. Oh my God, Daddy! And then I love what she says to AJ here at the end. There better be
what
some
happened?
fucking
He went to an Indian restaurant.
Yeah, that's so fucking racist.
There better be Coke left in that fridge. That's all I can say.
Who's letting out those big ones, as AJ says. And then, fortunately for you, Tony, for Matt, I was just calling you Tony. Fortunately for you, Tony,
I'll take it.
This is, I believe, I know this is our last skip and pussy scene. And interesting side note that I heard when watching the Talking Soprano episode here. Bobby Bacala, Steve Sciarippa, originally auditioned for the part of Skip, but they liked him so much that he eventually got Bobby. But he could have been Skip. So you could have been without this guy.
Would that have been better or not? I don't know.
Oh, come on, Bobby Bacala. Hey, we got a.
No, it means we don't have Bobby where he currently is.
Right. And then who do we have in Bobby's spot? This guy?
Imagine if Skip was Bobby.
Yeah. Oh my God.
That's-
And lots of love to AK in the live chat. Hope you are doing awesome, AK. Great to have you in the chat. Thanks for the love.
I gotta ask you a question, folks. I don't know the answer to this because it's been so long since we've seen this.
Yes.
There are 2 separate instances of Vito in this show when he's not Vito.
Yes. One I know of, definitely.
There's 2. There's 2 definite ones.
The first one, the shop where he does the spider, where he's in there when
Yes.
the Goodfellas reference with Michael Imperioli.
Yes, that's the first one. The second one, he shows up to build the ramp for Beansy.
Oh, he's not the same character?
No, he's just a dude. Dude, that's not. I don't think that can be him. It really doesn't look like it's him.
We'll get. Oh no, we're past that. We already passed the Beansy part. But yeah, I probably not. It's probably a different character because he doesn't get introduced as Vito
No, he's like, hey, we have to do this. Someone told us we had to do it. It's not Vito, who, like, as far as we know, Vito's always been a made guy, like, long before this.
They might have recanonized it as Vito, but who knows? And AK, I'm going to imagine you saying, hello, hello, like Robert Englund in The Adventures of Ford Fairlane. I don't know if that's how you meant it, but I'm taking it that way. Hello, hello. You want to go man to man? Mano y mano? Man to man, mano y mano? What the fuck does mano y mano mean anyway? Oh! Sorry. AK's like, no, I didn't mean that at all.
So the thing is here, though, that, like, it's really weird. Like, as an adult, I don't think I've had really weird dreams when I've been sick. But I mean, I remember being a little kid, and like when I was really sick as a kid, the dreams you would have was like literally the craziest shit in the world, and it would be like recurring things I'd have every time I was sick. So I think part of this are the dreams making them sick. Is the, being sick making the dreams? I have no idea.
Now, do you remember any of those childhood dreams?
A little bit. I couldn't tell you. One, it was always down by the beach. It was weird, but it was just like an absolute nightmare. My sister always had the same nightmare when she was sick too.
But you and Michelle had the same dreams?
No. Sorry, she always had her own same.
Oh,
dream.
okay. For a minute there,
She was always being chased in the woods by like wolves when she was.
Oh,
sick,
we just passed it, by the way. That scene with Tony smiling, walking down the pier. That's definitely a very famous GIF. That GIF or GIF, depending on how you say it. That's out there with Tony like doing the weird smile where he's like walking down there. No, not how I heard it in my head, but if it makes you happy. If you haven't seen that, even if you haven't seen the whole movie Adventures of Ford Fairlane, it's almost worth it just to see Robert Englund play a character other than Freddy Krueger in a very funny kind of peculiar way. Of course, Jay, I'm doing that. I will be doing that after every episode when that comes out. Joe and I will also be doing Cobra Kai on New Year's Day, and I'll be doing the Lord of the Rings series when that comes out on Amazon as well. So this is my favorite dream of them all, I think. This section of the dreams with that smile, and I believe this all ends with him talking to the fish, which ends up. Oh no, it's a little later where he's talking to the fish and then forever in the series, he gets pissed off at that big mouth Billy Bass toy.
Right.
But yes, Jay, I will absolutely be doing the prequel.
How are you feeling?
You think this is the first person that's been that close to Tony that he's had to kill? My guess is yeah.
Yes, absolutely. Oh, here we go. I love these alternate
The dream within a dream thing, yeah.
Yeah, the dream within a dream thing.
I realize this guy does do some things that annoy me. Like every
Oh, he does already annoy him, I guess.
Oh, yeah, but this is the first we really hear of it. And is he really talking about Paulie? Does Paulie do this? Again, they were talking about this in the Talking Sopranos podcast, but I feel like I can repeat everything.
No,
like,
Paulie does.
Is Paulie really writing a Christmas card to everybody?
I don't know. He is, but he is sort of seen as a joke in like the Italy episodes.
Yes.
one of my best guys,
Yeah.
a terrific
Because he's so... But that being said, in the worst of situations, who would Tony call?
Of course.
Paulie would be number one.
was filled with
Sober Christopher, he trusts more, but yeah, besides that, Paulie.
With your anger. And look at the cost. You are the
Yeah, you passed me up for promotion, Tony. You knew. Yeah, exactly, Mandrell. And I love how Mandrell is basically quoting the episode. Like, we don't even have to watch it. We can just have Mandrell do the episode. It's fucking awesome. But that's
Oh,
what...
speaking of Italy, this
Oh,
year's-
yeah, this girl,
If you keep this up,
the boss from Italy. The which is interesting to the way Tony looks at, and just for what Mandrell said to finish my thought, that oh my God, that somewhere Tony knows that that Pussy did this in his mind because he got passed up for promotion, and I think it's interesting that Tony thinks about that woman from Italy, the boss in Milfy, and his mother, as we see later, and Carmela, kind of all in the same, or less Carmela, those other three women in the same kind of package. You know, they're all the same thing. Gloria eventually too. Like these women that have a lot of power over him and that he has a lot of extra respect for. I don't think he has the same respect for Carmela. Oh, this is the first of 2 times that Adriana and Tony get into a car together. Let's see if she blows him this time. One of the funnier later season moments of The Sopranos when they go to the doctor, when Steve Buscemi, maybe my favorite Steve Buscemi thing in the entire series, where he goes and gets the doctor and makes the doctor explain why it's impossible that she was blowing Tony in the car because of the way her neck was hurt. Yeah, they're all dominant females.
What are you doing here?
Again, we're getting into one of my favorite scenes in this episode. The selfishness of Artie Bucco in this scene is incredible. He does not care about Tony's health, how good Tony is. Once he hears food poisoning, he's just trying to clear his own name. He's like, oh, no, the muscle's not Artie Bucco. Artie Bucco would be an amazing used car salesman.
Oh, yeah.
Send him up!
Not gonna make any sense when you talk.
He's sounding like Ralph Cramden there. Send him up! Send up Norton! Get Norton up here now! I love this, you motherfucker. I love how he just starts shit talking Artie in this scene. This is just classic Gandolfini. Somewhere, you son of a bitch.
Maybe. Just out of consideration for what I should have those fucking muscles you gave me for your puzzle fucking outbreak.
Whoa, no. I handpick every piece of shellfish myself.
Like Matt, we often talk about this, but who else has the balls to shit talk Tony like Artie will? Like Artie is not afraid to give it back to Tony in a way that
Right.
none of his boys will.
Tony, you ate mussels?
Prince Edward Island.
No, but
Top of the line.
he also knows Artie's, like, you know. he's fucking
Harmless.
Artie.
Yeah, he's harmless.
Right.
But he gets him get away with stuff he wouldn't let other people get away with. That's what I'm saying. They came up undigested. As Tao Tao was mentioning earlier.
Right.
Self-protection.
Within Indian restaurants?
And then,
Verified, but when you hit a
and I love how in this scene he ends up calling Pussy too, and he's like, "I'm vindicated. Pussy got a little diarrhea. I'm vindicated."
watching a satellite feed when they broadcast the cremation. Did you know that they doused the body in the funeral pyre and clarified
He's, oh my God.
get it burning?
In a series of a series of actors that we often talk about are just excellent here. Oh my God.
Maybe?
I am. I feel very bad for him.
Sure he does.
Sal.
Artie's performance, Johnny T, whatever I forget his last name. He is one of the more underrated parts of The Sopranos. Him and his wife, like both of them. Like she was amazing in is it a Bronx Tale that she's in? I think playing De Niro's wife. Like
Yeah, she's the mom in the Bronx Tale.
and she just brings a lot of, like, she's good at playing one note, but she adds a lot, and like her and Artie were an anchor on this show and almost like a comedy act. And
Right.
it just added so much to the show of just unspoken in the way that, in a better way, but in a similar way, of Skinny Pete and Badger on Breaking Bad. Like they were
Right.
always around and always doing their thing, and they're interacting in the story too, but they're not so part of the story. Like, I
Hold
don't
on.
know.
Are you trying to tell me that Badger and Skinny Pete are as good of actors as Artie Bucco and his wife
No,
are?
no, but I'm saying their role in the show is similar.
The same thing at the Indian restaurant.
Yeah, they're like 3PO and R2D2, I guess.
Yes. Yeah, in a sense, in some ways. But no, I'm not trying to say no one can match the acting ability of Skinny Pete.
I mean, speaking of Artie, one of the... he has some moments, man. There's times when he's... It's weird because you won't see him for 5 episodes, then he's a huge part of an episode. The
Yeah.
one where he's threatening Christopher, where he's just shit-faced, like going off on Christopher
Yeah,
about Adriana.
the one with Vinny Del Pino.
Yes.
Where he's
The
trying
one
to,
where he gets the earring because he's trying to impress that other hostess they have.
Yep, and he gets ripped off and all that alcohol, and that alcohol thing lasts a few episodes later. Armagnac, it keeps showing back up.
And oh my God, and he goes and like acts out what he's going to say to the guy in the mirror.
Tao, I honestly, you just mentioned the two women I probably had the biggest crushes on in some ways on the show, all jokes aside. Charmaine Bucco and Rosalia Prio. Matt likes Rosalia Prio so much that that Matt and Jen, Mrs. Matt, named their dog after Rosalie.
Yeah, my dog is named Rosalia Prio.
Yep, that's a fact. That's a fact. And he dresses up in his lovely Mrs. Matt dresses up the dogs every Halloween as certain characters, and I'll try to.
Rosalie only does like feminist icons at this point.
Yeah. She got actually some real good attention. Didn't she get like retweeted by one of the girls from Orange is the New Black from doing a character?
Yep.
Yeah. Did she do Tasty or did she do?
She did Tasty after like season 1 or season 2 when she first got the blonde curl in her hair. She got a blonde curl from Piper and put it in her hair. So Jen made a whole wig and put the blonde curl in it.
And that was the one that got retweeted by the actress herself, I believe, or something.
Yeah, and it was like right after season 1, maybe. So they're still like, it's the first time she's ever been a big deal where people care and people are dressing up like her, or in our case, dressing up.
I remember it was really cool. And so I'll try to get those pictures for next week or for 2 weeks from now when we do our next episode. So I love this again. I love this scene between. I mentioned it before the episode with Tony with the fucking hard on and Lorraine Bracco, who Lorraine Bracco. If you've never heard her talk, as Lorraine Bracco has a sick sense of humor, and so does James Gandolfini. So I can imagine what this was like to shoot as the actors, like just how much fun and how hilarious this was to actually do.
And I love that he's just wearing the
the white
wife beater and
and with the sweatpants on and stuff.
Yeah.
Anthony, come here.
You know he must love being called Anthony too.
Yeah,
that's like by a powerful woman.
Yeah, especially her. She's just someone that he has. I mean, it's hard not to, especially if you're someone that breaks down barriers. When you talk to someone like this intimately and personally, and you can kind of trust them in the way he handles relationships, to not feel this way about Milfy. It's a tough, like you can see where his simplistic mind sort of couldn't help. Then immediately in season 4 or the beginning of 5, when Carmela leaves him, his immediate thought is, I'm going to go to her because she's another put together woman and I'm going to get her. She's going to be my wife because she already knows everything about me. So she's already accepting me. And that's when Milfy does the therapist break, where a therapist is like, listen, I'm not who you think I am. It's like an actor talking to somebody. I'm not the character. I'm playing a character that you need me to be in this moment. And I mean, that's the beauty of therapy, and also the pain of it for people that can't understand the difference, where there's this, like, you don't know the person, you just know what they think you need. And that's why being a therapist is like an actor in some point, in the way of like being empathetic and understanding what someone needs and showing them different parts of your face. You know? Oh, there you go. That's what I'm saying. Perfect. Perfect for this episode, and perfect to say goodbye to the lovely Miss Marianne, but also perfect to symbolize what they go on eventually, Matt, with Pussy Later, a 3-hour tour.
Right.
You know, that all by the water here. Everything's on the pier. The fish, sleeping with the fishes from The Godfather. There was like several things in this episode. This is just ridiculous. This scene's just ridiculous. 8 pounds.
Swimming. Best exercise. Works every day.
So,
Fuck out of here. You never exercised once in your life.
So and the fact that he ends up relatively okay after all of this is done leads me to believe what I'm sort of saying, Matt, that the dream is what leads him to this. You know, like, he knows it, but if it wasn't for the dream, I don't know. I think the dream kind of leads him to that. Like, this is when he knows for sure.
But I think the dream is being led by the fact that he's that sick and you start hallucinating almost.
Have you ever had a dream or anything like that, or a premonition of sorts, put pieces together in real life for you? Where you've imagined something. it's a hard one to really think about that because I'm trying to think that as well.
Well, I mean, I've had pieces of deja vu that I swear were from dreams, but I don't know. My wife and my grandmother both had really weird dream experiences with stuff that was. He shouldn't have had dreams.
Yeah, I had one that's a little weird when I was sick. When I had that, I woke up in the middle of the night one night and turned to my ex-wife and said, I have cancer. I think I have cancer. And then I went to the doctor and I did. It was weird. It was weird. I blame it on those fucking commercials that you listen to in the middle of the night and infomercials where they talk about all the side effects and stuff. And
which is essentially everything.
Yeah, and it would fuck with my head and and I thought I probably had a dream and that was listening to what they were saying and woke up and saying it. But it was weird that I went there and pretty much a month later is when I got my diagnosis. It was really weird. And Stephanie said that to me afterwards. That's one of those things that I'm glad I said that to her because she's like, "Oh my God, you said that." And that's the closest. Yeah. That's the closest to a dream thing that I happened. So here we go in the end here. I love how they don't give him a chance. They're up in the bedroom. Could Pussy have done anything here, Matt? What would he have done if he ran from the house right here?
He can't. He's giving up his whole life to do that.
He did it before. He did it last year. If
so, does he know right now? No. That's right. I remember what happens. I haven't.
Right. He doesn't.
I'm going to give full disclosure to everyone. I have been doing my homework at every Sopranos, watching it 2 or 3 times. But between Christmas and me starting a new job, I did not watch this right before.
So
we're doing.
So Tony needs to find the bug to be sure for real. Pussy does not know yet. He doesn't even realize it exactly until they're on the boat, and he turns around and notices what's going on. I think it's real interesting that he's got to think something right here, but could he have done anything differently? If he just ran out of the house and left them there with Angie right now, knowing it would only because don't you have to think that if Pussy's got to think that if Tony and Sil are showing up at his house like this, something's up. This isn't normal.
Yeah, I also don't think he thinks he's going to get killed by him though.
You think he thinks he could always talk his way out of it?
He doesn't have proof yet. That's the whole thing.
Yeah.
I think he thinks that wouldn't have gone out to eat with him 2 nights ago.
Yeah, that's true. And I mean, right here, he didn't have time to hide this, and he finds the bug. So Tony comes down and gives the signal to Sil when he comes downstairs and says, "We're going for a boat," which says that, I found something. Because I think if he didn't find something, he would have said, "We can't look at the boat today. I feel too sick." I think those were the 2 decisions.
I got Meadows' thing today. Yeah. I can't.
Yeah. As this dream is the one that always fucks with me because I never think that this is a dream, but it is. This is a tricky one because at first when I first watched this episode, I always thought this was just the future. We just saw post whatever, but it's just another dream. And another sign that Pussy, if I was Pussy and I saw Sil drinking in the middle of the fucking day, I would have fucking tuck-tailed. I would have opened that door of that car and stopped, dropped, and rolled my way out of there. And when we get to finally Paulie sitting at the pier here, notice Paulie the way Paulie acts towards Pussy. He doesn't play the game.
He can't.
He can't. He's just get on the boat, puss. The way he says it to him, get on the boat, puss. He just can't play in the way that Sil is hurt. Sil's the one that's taking it the hardest. He can't imagine because he's probably looked up to this guy his whole life. It's not just that Pussy was their friend. Pussy was the generation above them and looked up to them.
Well, he's probably Paulie's age, is my guess.
Yeah, so that generation above.
But these guys aren't really. I don't know how old Sil is either.
Sil's Tony's age. Sil, Ralphie, Tony.
You think Sil is his age?
I think Sil, Ralphie, and Tony and Rich and Jackie Aprio are all relatively the same age. I think they all grew up together. They were a crew growing up.
See, I think Sil's a few years older than him, but I don't know that. I'd have to go look.
Yeah, I think I get a feeling Sil's always been Tony's guy. Tony's best friend. Tony's Mike Kavasov to Nick.
Wow. But I think of that being his cousin and being Jackie.
Yeah. Yeah. No, but Jackie, I think, is the guy that Tony looked up to. Like, Jackie was above Tony. Tony never wanted to be a boss as long as Jackie was around. So I love how Pussy puts on the music here, and he's just like, what's going on? As here it is, shit's on. And could you do this to, and I know I'm going to throw myself, I'm not one of your bestest friends, but could you, if you were in a club like this with like Justin or the PD or something,
I could absolutely kick Justin's ass. That's for damn sure.
Could you kill Scott, or could you kill the PD? Could you?
Yeah. I mean, it depends. If they like I'd never be in this situation, I don't think.
Could you Michael Corleone? Could you kill M, or either your M's or your E, any of your siblings? I don't want to say their names just in case. Either the M's or the E's. Could you?
No, God, no.
Could you wipe any of them out?
No, I mean, what would someone like that have to do to me? They'd have to either murder my wife or so. You know what I mean? Like, what else could they do? Nothing.
No, stop. You're not even from the boat, Paulie. Paulie took it the hardest. Tony just sort of long-term shows, but Paulie is hardest out there. You have to, and I guess you're right about that, Melon, that Paulie really is hurt in a way that is deeper than some of the other guys because he grew up with Puss. I think you're right.
He grew up with Puss.
I think you're right about that.
He also is from the pre-flipping to the Feds time period.
But he's also the one that would most quickly do it, because he even says it later in the series when they talk about it, where Paulie is like, "I love that motherfucker like a brother, but I'd kill him again if I had the chance."
Yeah.
And Merry Sixth Day of Christmas to you as well. So, again, Matt, I know we've dragged him a lot, but he plays this really well. He plays this really well, and you feel this. You feel this emotion as Paulie finally can't take it and shuts off the music.
They know about the calling cards.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not in that. But what else? That's it. That is recently. What not recently?
I love how Paulie's like, I'm not in that. What else?
Fucking noise.
Oh yeah, Sil just can't handle it anymore, you know. But I think the reason why I think it's Sil is I think Sil is the least, even though he is a fucking sociopath, horrible person like them all. I think Sil is probably the least
most even keeled emotionally.
Yes.
Period.
And I think even though he's the one that ends up doing Adriana, which is a vicious act, I think he's the most.
The most aggressive you ever see Sil is when he goes after Christopher at the.
Yeah, exactly.
Intervention.
With the or at the poker game, or
the intervention when he goes out with Christopher. Remember, says, and you fucking every slut in the whatever he says about it in there. You would, and him and Paulie go over the fucking.
Oh, I can't wait to get to that. I can't wait to get to that episode. And me too. This is a very emotional scene, especially right now when with what Tony says to Sil. He's like, "Stop pushing me," like the way Sil says that. I think he's the least comfortable. Like, they're all comfortable with violence, but I think comparatively to Paulie and Tony, he's the least comfortable with, like, a violent act towards a friend. You know, I think this breaks Sil, and it makes it easy.
And I don't think Sil, he just doesn't react. Sort of his role in the family.
Consigliere?
No, I was gonna quote. What's the movie with with Robert De Niro and Billy Crystal?
Analyze this.
Yeah, when he's like the consigliere, and he can't say it correctly. You want a fresh one, Jelly? He's not prone to reacting to his emotions, and he's very even keeled and doesn't just react. Paulie reacts like no one else in the show does.
Paulie's all id, and so is Tony in a lot of ways.
Right.
I love that they do this because this is so real, and this is one of those moments that makes it so tough. Because I feel like, and again, I'm not in a situation like this. The best, like a club like this or an organization like this, so I can't quite relate to it 100%, obviously. But you can relate to moments when those are sort of last moments with friends or last.
Yep.
I think we've all had some moments, whether they're and this is what this feels like in a great way. And this transforms like they let him drink, and I'd be drinking the fuck like he does too. He's smart to do this. He just starts getting shit faced. Corny, silly. Scylla's great. Yes, Scylla's great. He is. They kind of, I believe, wrote the part just for Steve Van Zandt, and he's needed on the show, but they definitely don't give him the weightier stuff that compared to some others.
He's a one-dimensional. You see him next to Tony, like he can't act next to Tony. You know,
you fucked up, Pussy. And this is where Pussy sort of comes to. He has all the signs of loss, all the six of what, acceptance, anger, frustration, and now he finally accepts it here at the end.
Not in the face, okay?
It was the 6 stages of loss. Is that what it is, or is it the 5 stages?
Yeah, it might be the 5. I don't know. They're always adding to stages.
Yeah, there's always more stages. It's like the food groups and shit. They just add the shit. And that, yeah. You fucked up, Pussy.
Started feeling out too.
And I'm about to I'm laughing because it's emotional, but this is one of the biggest payoffs that the series gives. If we go from last week with the Janice and Richie thing, and I know some people's disappointment with how that all fell down, not just yours, Matt, some other people's as well. This was a huge payoff that they were leading for 2 seasons, as we knew that. As we had the Pussy's a Rat thing come in season 1, a lot of people forget about that, but it just never goes anywhere. We find
he would have been killed if Jimmy wasn't a rat too. He would have been dead in the middle of season 1.
Exactly, 100%. Ooh, and Tony's the first one, and then they all do it, and yeah, turning point in the series, even bigger than 8. And I was going to say that. Excellent point. Dropping some amazing Soprano knowledge in the live chat right now. Thank you, Melon. I think that I was going to say earlier that I don't think Scylla's able to do what he did with Adriana without this being a thing. I think this broke all of them in some way. And a part of them died by killing Pussy, because Pussy was a levity that they all had. I think it slowly pushes this to the point where we get in season 6 where there is no joy left anymore. There's no joy in Mudville, as they say. Like there is.
Right. These guys had a lot of fun together, and a lot of they did a lot of shit together at different points in their lives.
Exactly, and just to say goodbye in such a violent, disappearing way that they do this. It's hugely emotional. You see it in how.
Why didn't they shoot him outside? Like he's so fucking heavy to lug him all the way out there like that. Like they could have shot him right there and just pushed him over the edge, but no.
Yeah, you also have to get him into a place alone like that where he can't get to by the FBI, just in case he has another microphone on him somewhere. Like they want or something, like they wanted to make sure, like just like he is, just in case he isn't bugged or can't call for help.
I forget what they end up telling, what the story is that they end up. Because again, I did not watch this. I'm such a fool for not doing that.
I don't think they say anything here at the end, but I think eventually the story becomes that he left for the FBI, like that he became a rat. I think it's the same as Richie, but I think Pussy's wife. There's a couple of episodes coming in the future where Pussy's wife is a part of the episode. The whole one with the car and when we first meet Phil Leotardo, where Tony beats the shit out of him in the car and there's a car damage and Phil's like,
You're not gonna forget to go to camp.
the big 3 stopped recognizing rats. Strangely enough, Carlo evolved them, especially in season 6. Yeah, and he's crazy about that. The rats are incredible. Like Tony does stop having his rat radar after this point. Even with Adriana, no one picks up on that, or no one picks up on her friend being around, or any of all of that.
Well, part of that though is Tony's not that close to these guys anymore after this. Mm-hmm. He talks to Still that he's that tight with, and he doesn't even like he never likes Ralphie.
Now, Matt, as I said here at the beginning, as we ended this one arc. We're leading into what would have been our cliffhanger from season 2 into season 3 here, where where Nancy is being arrested, where Livia is being arrested for these tickets, and Tony gets arrested by the FBI here. Like, it just would have been interesting because I think season 3 would have had a court case going against Tony where they were trying to get his mother to testify against him. And I believe the end game long-term goal of that would have been Tony eventually having to whack his own mother and dealing with the mental ramifications of that at some point in the series. Maybe not the very end. Maybe it's something they would have stretched out to the final season or something, because court cases could be a long time and things can get continuing and or whatever. But or if that's just how they would have ended season 3. I don't know, but
I don't think so, because I think at some point
What do you want?
Tony hates his mother enough he could kill her.
yeah, I think he would have done it fairly soon. People that don't know, the main FBI agent here, the main guy is someone named Frank Pellegrino. If anyone's ever ate at the restaurant Rayo's in either New York or Las Vegas, or ever gotten the sauce or the soups or the pastas off the shelves, Rayo's Pasta, he is the owner and founder of Rayo's. And they were such fans of his food, they put him in the show. And I think he does a good job in this part as the head of the FBI.
Yeah, and he plays. They have that conversation. He's the one that plays the tape for Tony of his mother, sort of
Yep.
selling him out.
Yep.
And he's supposed to be the Italian that's on the other side.
And as much as I do love Janice, and I mentioned this before, that Janice was never supposed to come back as far. I mean, she probably would have eventually. But Nancy was a huge tragedy. They weren't expecting it. No one knew she was sick. And it would have been interesting to see where David Chase would have taken the series, because I think there would have been a slightly tighter narrative from beginning to end to Sopranos if Nancy had lived, because so much of the foundation of this series was David Chase talking about his own relationship with his mother and the parallels between Tony and his mother. So it was a big part of the foundation of the series. So to have that character just disappear unannounced, I think is why you see in season 3, although there's some great episodes, there's a lack of direction. And we get a little bit too much Jackie Jr. and Meadows stuff, which I think would have been more in the peripheral. And
there's a perfect example. How lucky did they get, considering that they weren't going to make Janice a huge part of the show?
Yeah, that she was available and how good she was.
Well, that she was great.
Yeah,
because Jackie Jr., if they never planned on having Jackie be a big part of the role, guess what? He shouldn't have been. He's the worst actor left in the show. Now that what's his name's out of it.
Now that Skip's gone. Now that Skip's my boy. He's your boy.
Skip is gone, and your boy Pussy's swimming with the fishes.
I love Pussy and fishes. No, but and I love here at the end here, Meadow. This is where Meadow shows herself to be Tony's kid, where she's just like, fuck my friends that wouldn't be into that. And honestly, that's the attitude you have to have. I'm not going to say names, but Matt and I grew up with someone in school that had some connection to some stuff. If you don't remember Matt, I will tell you afterwards.
I'm well aware. In fact, that person's brother actually just got arrested for something recently.
Yeah, that person. I was going to say that person's brother handled it a lot worse than the person themselves. But she had a very similar to Meadow kind of attitude about the whole thing. Like I don't give a fuck. If you have a problem with it, go fuck yourself. Like that sort of vibe about all of that. But yeah, Matt and I went to school with a local person. That did you ever go to parties? Did you ever go to parties?
Yeah, well, the after proms were there senior year that I went to
Yep.
a couple times. Yeah, I fell in the pool fully clothed.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, no, I went to some summer parties and went to a few Christmas Eves there because my mother was friends with the mother.
It's done, Tony. Over. My advice.
So it's over, but they're building a bigger case. So maybe it would have season 3. There would have just been like Tony trying to get his mother in the right mindset, and then they would have led on further along the road with a court case. Because I do think.
So you have this theory though that she'd be a way bigger part of the show. I don't think.
I do.
She would, because he can just put her in Green Acres or
No,
Green Acres,
she was
Grove,
Matt. She was abusive to the
some-
staff.
We can put her somewhere else.
He was abusive to the staff.
At the FAA. Before this is over, they're gonna pin that Egypt dad thing on me, and you fucking know it.
So I do think that's one of the many And I get that David Chase is a little bit of Ryan Johnson, like fucking with people's expectations shit. But I think one of those things that we lost out on, Matt, was not having one season be the court case of Tony Soprano. Like I feel like that's that unsaid seventh season, or the Sopranos movie that would have existed if James Gandolfini didn't die. If you believe that the character of Tony doesn't die at the end, I think we would have got.
Well, I think we've all learned that he did.
I mean, now that's an easy out. Rest in peace, James Gandolfini, but that's an easy out. This is, again, I've talked about this earlier. This is one of my favorite Milfy and Tony scenes.
I'm listening. I have to step away from this for a second, though. These for my dogs. Hold on. I'll be right back.
Oh, no worries.
You keep doing your thing.
Canines are always more important, Matt. So I love this scene as Tony doesn't want to be in therapy. Again, I think we've all been in this situation where we're sitting in therapy. We don't want to be there. And everything the therapist says is pissing us off. Not everybody, but I have. When I say that, what I really mean is I've been in this. Everyone knows I've been in this situation where I've been pissed off in this moment. And if you're watching, I'm sorry, not at you, other therapists.
Believe me, in your childhood,
Matt just got whacked.
I did.
Matt got whacked from the podcast, Melon.
No, we don't have that in Vermont. All right, we don't have. There's no
There's no whacking means something different.
Yeah, it does. It's chopping trees up here.
Or it's something that you do with Ben and Jerry's ice cream or something. But
what I might do with Ben and Jerry, sure.
Sure.
what the hell was going on?
So I love Tony's got his feet up here as Milfy's really trying to put like a capper on the season here, and Tony just like starts echoing Olivia. Oh, poor you, poor me.
Along the line, I became frightened of you.
Let's see if I can play a little bit of this.
Frightened.
Maybe I should have seen that clearer.
Can you hear that
in
good,
the
Matt?
beginning.
Yeah.
Maybe, baby.
Maybe, baby. The fucking smile when he says "maybe, baby," as you just see it working in Gandolfini's head to start singing right there. Maybe, baby. Have you ever been this antagonistic towards someone, Matt? As Tony is right here, like passive aggressive.
Of course I am. I always have.
I
been.
know. This reminds me of you when you're pissed off. That's why. Me too. I'm similar. That's one trait we share. And why in our one, like, we can only look to it. In the one argument you and I ever really got into, it was disastrous quick because we were two people doing this back and forth to each other.
Okay, in my Phil will always bring up this one argument we had.
Yeah, because you were being
It's
a
not the only
douchebag.
argument we've ever had. It's the first. It's the closest we came to a physical altercation. I'll say that since we were friends in high school, like not we were kids and whatever. But having said that, this was after a friend's wedding where we had been drinking for literally
3
10
days.
hours straight.
Or maybe
me and the groom spent the last 20 minutes of the wedding going around drinking, just
Kill you and
guzzling the carafes of wine that were still on the table.
Yeah,
Like, that's what Nick and I did at the end. And a couple hours after that.
True
sure,
story. Yeah, true story. Good, fair point, Matt. Fair point. Alcohol could have played a factor. But I just want to get back to this as Tony tells her that I had a dream I want to fuck you, and she's just like, you hit me with a brick wall, and she keeps going like she's not afraid. And then he just drops a fuck you and walks out there. And then he looks at her. Don't say another fucking word. Man starts singing again in this passive aggressive douchebaggery. Oh my god. And singing, rolling down the hallway as we lead into Meadows' graduation here, and a couple of guest appearances that we see pop in here at the end. We see a quick appearance of Junior pop up in this, and we see our boy Danny Scatino, Terminator 2000 pop up one more time.
Yeah, he's literally the opposite of the Terminator 2000 here.
Tao says Tony is pouring like an 8-year-old here. He is not tough. Oh, he's pouting like an 8-year-old. I think is I'm gonna auto correct for you. Oh, and she auto corrected herself. Yeah, but I'll auto correct for you. My brain did. Sometimes I'll say the autocorrect word, but know in my head what the person meant, even though I'll say the other thing because I'm Ron Burgundy with comments sometimes. Like I'll just look and read what's in front of me.
Right.
Like people have fucked me with that too because I can't help it. Sometimes I'll just read.
I'm Phil Weinstein.
He is a douchebag.
I fucking deserve it.
I have no spleen, Gene. As you see Christopher, we hear Christopher getting his button. And they spot Junior giving a big envelope to Meadow. Get the fuck out of here, Junior. I love. I'm glad we got to see Junior once here, as Tony has pretty much forgiven Junior at this point in time.
Oh, Danny Scatino.
Danny Scatino. Davies. Is it Davey or Davey? Davey Scatino.
Davey?
Yeah, I believe it's Davey.
Yeah, you're right. It is.
I believe it's Davey. I always mess it up, too. I always call him Danny Scatino, too. I feel like I know someone named Danny Scatino. That's why. Or like another movie somewhere has a character named Danny Scatino. Or maybe it's a Mandela effect thing. Are you aware of the Mandela effect?
Yeah, this guy Phil I know made me watch a.
Oh,
I mean, I knew what it was anyways. I already knew what it was.
Did I make you watch the Angry Video Game Nerd episode?
The Berenstain Bears one, yeah.
Yeah, the Berenstain Bears. Steen.
Correct.
Steen Bears, motherfucker. And I still remember that Sinbad Genie movie. I don't care. It happens. There's a couple of weird ones like that. If you've never heard of the Mandela effect, I highly recommend looking it up. It's a fun rabbit hole.
Yeah, I never understood the Mandela actual part of it. Like that, I never had that. I never remember Mandela dying, but
no,
this was based off of.
I think it was because I do remember. I think it was people confusing it with Stephen Biko.
Yes, just racist Americans like
grouping it all together.
You and I, did you have Mrs. Crawford?
Yeah, Mrs. Crawford.
Yeah, Crawford. So I mean, right? We watched the Biko movie.
Yeah,
I mean, that was like.
I think there was a little confusion because Biko died around the similar time that Mandela was released. So I think there was some confusion with people around that. So we get the Keith Richards song come back here at the end as the Soprano family smiles at the end, and we get a very Wire, Sons of Anarchy like conclusion to the episode where we flash around to all the different parts of town that Tony takes ownership of. We see the Hasidim Hotel, we see the trash routes, we see
Barone Sanitation.
We stop at every one of Tony's control. We see the excess of Tony's empire right now, while he's in his familiar moment. And it was filmed in a very interesting way, so Webistics here, so that they can show a close-up on the family, like have a facing camera. And we see the new family here, minus the Pussy, but Pussy does get mentioned in passing. Yeah, the calling card scam. It's interesting to see scams in the past here. They just don't exist anymore because I don't think.
Right, calling cards. Yeah.
Are calling cards even a thing right now, or is it more?
I don't know.
Or is it more prepaid cell phones?
Calling cards probably are to people that need to call overseas.
Yeah.
Like I think if you go to if you go to Lynn and go to no offense, Lynn, that's my home. Lived there most of my adult life and when I was a little kid. I think you can still go to convenience stores and get like a calling card to certain countries where it's worth a lot. Where it's there'll be a specific one, like if you have to call Ecuador, this is the calling card you want to use. So,
Paul, here, what you do? What you doing? Say what's saying, Folly.
I don't know why Sil holding that cigarette looked ridiculous.
I think because a lot of that seems outtakey. Like they're just laughing, they're laughing and stuff. And I think in a sense, there's certain.
And that's how you can tell. That's how you can tell how old this show is. The mixture, how many old bills are still in there.
Dude, when's the last time you got like an old 20 or something?
It's so wild
it's
when
so
you do.
Wild.
You're like that. I'm like that shit's not real, and it's like that's what it was for like 30 something years of my life.
It seems so small. That's the biggest thing I think. You like see the picture on it of the dead president, and it looks so small. But yeah, I love this song. The song was very much well picked. Great episode, great conclusion. I think one of the we'll have to keep an eye on it, but definitely a better season finale than season 1, and I still can remember that because I've rewatched it enough. And I think maybe the best season finale.
I think at this point they know they're a big deal too. That's the other thing. Season 1, it's still not like. It's almost like there's no pressure, you know.
And
like
Matt,
it gets picked up.
And we got a few here at the end, but I think you're right about that. And I think the actual thing is, in some ways, even though the Soprano machine went on longer and in some ways got a little bigger in reach, I think season 2 and at this point is the peak. No, maybe into season 3. See, the first 3 seasons are the peak of its popularity. You know, it wasn't necessarily like Breaking Bad or Game of Thrones where it was more popular in the back half. I think Sopranos became a little less popular in the back half. I think less people, and I could be wrong about that. I actually have to look at the ratings, but I want to say it had more of that water cooler discussion, changing television in those first 3 seasons.
Yeah, and I think part of it was because of like, holy shit, this is a thing. Like it just wasn't one of those before to be excited about having a show that was worth talking about. And it was by the end of season 2, everyone had actually gone and gotten HBO. Like the people were paying for HBO at this point. And it's why, that's why HBO, they realized like, wait a minute, this is how we're going to make money. This show is essentially how we're going to make money moving forward. This and Game of Thrones and every show they've tried, Boardwalk Empire, everything else they came out with in those years afterwards.
Now, would you, without thinking about it, have a favorite season, without thinking about it too much, have a favorite season of The Sopranos?
I may have to ask you what season stuff is in. It may be season 4.
Okay, season 1 is the Junior Olivia.
I know the ones we've done. Okay, but season 4, Pyomai and Ralphie,
and also Whitecaps, which I believe is the season finale where Tony and Carmela break up.
I think when is Pine Barrens? Is that season 4?
Pine Barrens is 3.
Pine Barrens is 3. Okay.
Pine Barrens is 3. Pine Barrens has some good. I mean, season 3 has some really good episodes, but it also has Jackie Jr. episodes.
Which is
we got a lot of Jackie Jr. to get through when we start season 3. But it also has a lot of Ralphie stuff. Like, it's been a while since I watched season 3, but season 3 is the season I've watched the most. I've talked about this before. When I first moved out of my house, when the house got sold and all that sort of stuff, and I moved to Salem with Alan and Danny A. We didn't have any cable.
Oh man, down on how's the name of the street?
Levitt.
Oh man, yeah.
Yeah, and when we lived there, that group, it was bad. When Craig eventually moved in there, and his ex, like, they kind of put the place together a little bit. But like when the three of us,
there was an apartment that our friend Nick had lived in with these 2 random people that we didn't know either one of them. We came to know the guy. I met the girl once or twice.
John and Tracy.
Yeah, this apartment belonged to our friend Nick with these 2 other people that weren't part of our group of all of our friends. But over the course of the next 10 years, Phil?
20 maybe.
10 to 20 years.
20 years.
It just evolved with like so many different, of our friends that lived in there at different points, and just kept evolving and kept evolving and kept evolving.
Yeah, I mean, I was one of the last groups to live there eventually, but then they rented it to some college students for a few years, and actually I just talked to the guy like maybe right before the quarantine, and he had just sold the place. Finally, he had sold the place to somebody. But yeah, it was dark times in that place. But yeah, I forget what I was exactly talking about. But why did I bring up that stupid apartment?
Season 3, you had just moved out.
Oh yeah, I moved out season 3, and we didn't have cable, we didn't have TV, we didn't have internet. And I was stealing internet from a neighbor, like, when you're stealing wireless signal and stuff, but it wasn't consistent, so I couldn't really watch stuff, and streaming wasn't really a thing. There was the original Hulu and TV links and stuff, but that didn't exist quite yet. And this is like the first 6 months beforehand. All I had was a DVD player I won in a poker tournament at my college because they couldn't give us money, so I came in second in a poker tournament. Actually, we were in the top 3, and then we chopped because there was a TV with a DVD player and a DVD player, and we all talked how one of us just needed a TV because he had a PlayStation 2 and had a DVD player. One of us didn't have anything, and he needed the TV and the DVD combination, and I didn't have a DVD player, and I had a TV, so I got the DVD player, so we chopped the top 3 on a college tournament because they couldn't give us money, so we were all playing with play money, but they had prizes for the top 3, and like we were playing for an hour, and we were like, yeah, should we stop? And then I remember after that going over to Elia's and playing in one of those all night $2 buy-in games he used to have because he didn't want it to get serious, so he was like, we're only doing $2 buy-ins, so we don't get serious, but it still got pretty
the dirty Joe Locks like kryptonite, which is, hey, it's only $2, so
yeah. Yeah, you guys have heard
it's only $2, but I'll do it 30 times till it's 60.
Yeah, anyone that's been a relative long-term viewer on the show knows what a Joe rant is and know when Joe's yelling at the screen about how bad The Walking Dead is. Imagine that in your face after beating him in the hand of poker. because that's what Joe on tilt is like in a poker game.
And then he tries to ruin the game for everyone else by continuing to buy in for $2 and push all in before he looks
every
at his
hand,
cards.
like before he looks at the cards, he's just like, "Fuck you, all in, fuck you."
Yeah, he refuses to play like $30 buy-in and $40 buy-in hand. So instead, he'll just buy in $2.
Yeah, he's actually a
25,
very
30
good
times.
limit poker player, but when all in, no limit is too emotional for him sometimes.
Yeah.
Because he makes good reads when he's not feeling on tilt, but like then you want to put him on tilt and
For those of you who don't play poker, if you're a good poker player and know what's going on, you're going to get sucked out on, meaning you'll get beaten by a worse hand a lot more than someone who's a bad player, because you're usually putting your money in with the better hand
Right.
if you're smart. But the problem is it's math. So Joe will do that. He'll make the right move. He'll put his money in when he's ahead.
most
And
of
as
the
soon
time,
as he loses that hand, that's it. Then he's off.
yeah. Then it's a personal slight from the poker gods that didn't ordain that he should win
It's
it.
not even aimed at a person. Like you said, it's aimed at the poker gods.
It's aimed at the poker gods because he feels, and I've seen him do it, and this is a compliment to Joe, as Matt just said. 99% of the time, Joe will make the right play in a poker situation. He knows how to read people, and he knows how to play cards correctly and do the math in his head. Comes from a very big poker pedigree family. Like both his father and Ben and Martin are all great poker players. Yep. And Joe's probably the best amalgamation of all of them in the sense of being able also to be a little bit more human at times. You know, Larry can be a little bit of a troll sometimes, and Ben's really good. Ben's really good, and Martin's really good too. But Ben's probably the best. Joe hates when I say this, but Ben's probably the best of all of them. But anyways, Joe emotionally can lose his shit pretty easily, more than most of the rest of his family on a poker table, and especially his family members, especially Ben and Larry and Martin, all get under his skin. Even they'll call hands just to piss him off, to try to put him on tilt. So because if they don't, he usually will beat them, especially with this, because he knows how to read his family members so well. But if they put him on tilt, I've seen Martin do it. He'll just keep buying in to put Joe in that place and then win all his money back. But anyways, speaking of which, Matt needs to get ready for a poker game. I appreciate everyone that checked out this live stream about The Sopranos. Matt and I will be back in either 2 or 3 weeks to start season 3. And then we'll probably...
I had a different schedule at work at my new job. I think I'm going to be done, instead of getting done at like 5:36, like 4:30ish. So
oh, cool. So we might
I gotta be in earlier in the morning too, but this 6 o'clock may work out better. We'll see.
Perfect.
No.
I'm flexible on Wednesdays because they're usually a day off I have, and so I usually have Wednesdays off in general. So it works out. But everyone, thank you so much. This won't be the only time this weekend you hear from me. I will be back, if you didn't hear earlier, on New Year's Day to talk with Joe Dirtylocks about season 3 of Cobra Kai. That event is already created. I also did create the event, although it's private, for the Golden Girls stream with Tony that I'm going to be doing very soon. I'm hopefully going to be doing that next Tuesday evening. I need to touch base with Tony to confirm the time, but I do know that he also has Wednesdays off, so I'm going to try to touch base with him next time I talk to him and do that for a week from, or the next Tuesday. You can actually say
Sophia would have been a great match for friggin' Junior.
Oh, yes. Sophia and Junior would have been incredible. I actually want to do a video where I rank the all-time top crotchety old characters in comedies that talk shit, because Junior would, even though it's not a comedy, Junior would be on that list. Sophia would be on that list. Red Sanford would be on that list.
Frank Costanza from
Seinfeld would be on that list. You guys should do Alf next. I would absolutely do an Alf stream. Maybe I can get Tony to do Alf. I'm sure Alf will come up on the Golden Girls stream. But Alf is also coming back, Mandrell. I've watched so much Alf.
Oh my God, the thing that no one needed at all.
Hey,
was that.
I needed it, Matt. And Gordon Shumway is a needed character in this world. And there was also a post-Alf series TV movie where Alf gets captured by the government and he goes through all sorts of tests where the Tanners turn their back on him, where you find out what kind of horrible pieces of shit the Tanners really are to Alf just because he tried to eat their fucking cat. Like, come on.
And if you guys ever want, if you don't know what Alf is, it's a really bad comedy from the 80s.
Bad.
If you want to read a
Bad.
good, read what happened to the dad from that show. Read about like his life after Alf and how he eventually went down. It's pretty. Do you know about that, Phil?
Yeah, and I know that guy. A lot of that stems from him being very, very upset that he was such a well-trained actor acting with Alf.
Oh yeah.
Star. I will absolutely do more Quantum Leap topics, but if you do a little search on my channel, I believe I did a Quantum Leap thing a couple of years ago, but I'm all for doing more fucking Quantum Leap.
It's not bad, Alf.
Yeah, but exactly, Mandrell. It's not bad. Yeah, with Mandrell.
You know what? I'm just assuming it is. I haven't watched it in 25, 30 years. No, I watched it when I was a kid. I'm saying I haven't watched it since.
It's no worse than like any of the horrible sitcoms. It's better.
You and I talked about this last week about how all those sitcoms from the 80s are trash.
Yeah,
what was the one that we
trash.
said was okay?
In argument's sake, I think the ones that hold up the best are Bill Cosby aside, The Cosby Show, Cheers, Frasier. I think those.
Do we count Wonder Years as being in the 80s or not? Or we consider that more
Wonder
than
Years
90s?
I think holds up too. I think Wonder Years holds up.
Mainly because it's a period piece. It's
a
really
period
about
piece.
The 80s.
That's the point.
Yeah.
I think period pieces hold up longer from historically. It's why The Godfather
specifically from the 80s, which is why Back to the Future holds up.
Yep, and you could say The Godfather 2, which was late 70s, which was about the 50s or something like that, holds up because it's about the 50s. And so some other 70s movies will look a little bit more dated than The Godfather in some ways. But yeah, certain shows. Alf is bad. 50% of the punchlines are about eating cats. Says star. Dinosaurs too. What was worse for you, Not the Mama or Alf? I think Dinosaurs was a better written
I just
show.
haven't seen him in so long. Either one of those. I watched him when I was a kid. When I was the audience for them. So
Dinosaurs had, I think, slightly more satirical, interesting writing by the end. Even in the first episode, they had all the older dinosaurs get thrown off a cliff when they're like 45 years old or something like that. And
yeah, I mean that's funny.
And there was a weed episode, and there was whereas Alf was a little bit more formulaic sitcom-y, where you just
80s formulaic sitcom.
Yeah, I mean, it was the same vein as Small Wonder, or what was the other show like that where you had a witch or something like that. Like there were certain shows of that ilk, different show, but like My Two Dads level of great. It wasn't on the level of even shows that I was talking shit about. Family
Punky Brewster, or are you?
Punky Boobster. Freudian slip right there.
I don't know if you saw her when she grew up, but she was Punky Boobster when she grew up. I Soleil Moon Frye. If you've seen her after age,
we've all seen her, Matt. Oh my goodness, Soleil Moon Frye. But what a great dog in that episode. But yeah, that show wasn't tremendously great. Still waiting for season 3, episode 13, Apex Twins in the end credits. It is, but like those sitcoms earlier. I think shows like something like Family Ties, for instance, I don't think was tremendously amazing, but you had Michael J. Fox on it, so it kind of sold the show. Doogie Howser had Neil Patrick Harris, who was really good as,
and also had
Vinny Del Pino from The Sopranos.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Okay, everybody, I'm gonna let Matt go so he can prepare for his poker game. Anything else, Matt?
Yes, I was thinking of you the other day, Phil.
Oh no, really? Were you in the bath?
No, not. I put in too much weight. I wouldn't even fit in the bath at this point. But my wife. Do you know what Pluto is? It's like a streaming.
Yes. The television thing.
Yeah, but it's like it's just a free one. And it's all these. It's like a whole channel that plays nothing but like Robert Stack Unsolved Mysteries. Like that's what the shit's on. It's wild. So what my wife has been in the mood to, like, she'll just be doing shit on her iPad or getting ready for work or doing her makeup and shit, and she'll just have stuff on in the background. And unfortunately, for the last week or two, she's just, for whatever reason, is putting it on the friggin' Beverly Hills 90210.
Oh my
channel.
God, that's amazing.
And it's agonizing.
It's
to
all
me.
90210 all the time. I have Pluto. I might need to turn this channel on.
I don't know if it's all the time, but it's on there
Ooh.
a lot. And so
Do you
she'll
know-
just sit there and.
Do you know, Matt, like, I think there's a reason behind, I think, the reason why people love 90210 so much and have a connection to it in the way that they do. Because at that time period, people were starving for long-form storytelling and they didn't know it. And the only place you got it were soap operas. So even people that were fans of, like, deep drama, the only place you got those long stories like you get in all television shows now is shows like 90210 or Melrose Place.
Right, and there was none that was geared to teenagers, high schoolers.
Exactly.
At the time.
Star ask you, Matt, how much is your buy-in tonight?
Oh, it's a little $25 tournament that it's just this guy I know. I'm not going to tell the whole story of what he does, but we essentially play a home game on Poker Stars that is.
It's a lot of people are doing that. It's
the home game on Poker Stars.
Yeah,
where
they're playing for play money, and then they're just borrowing money.
And then Venmo's doing its thing in the background.
Yes,
we'll just put it that way.
it's like the weed thing. It's like, I'm not selling this; I'm giving you this ounce.
Right. It's your gift for belonging to the club.
Oh, guess what? I'm a little broke. Could I borrow some money, please? Thank you. Oh yeah, there's no transactional thing going on here.
We have a rewards club in Vermont. That's
the bloody talker, and if you get a few rewards points, you get the free Ben and Jerry's and stuff like that. I'm sure there's some sort of association with that. We got the awesome bloody talker in the live motherfucking chat. The bloody talker's here. We got to stop now. But no, Matt, have a fun poker game. Hopefully you will win. And I know once you're in the game, the buy-in doesn't matter. It's you want to beat those bastards. Is this with people I know? Is this some of your friends?
So there's like 3 of the people you probably know that play, but
P and M.
It's a friend of ours that does this, and he had played at my house maybe a half a dozen times to a dozen times over the 10 years I lived in Lynn. You know, maybe once or twice before that.
Funny enough, that's probably how much. I was gonna say, funny enough, that's probably how much I played too.
Oh, you didn't play at my house that much in Lynn at all?
No, twice, like twice in 4 years. Or something.
Yeah, like less than them. But you used to play with us in Swampscott.
Yeah, I used to play with you a lot when you and Schwartzy lived in.
I didn't live with there, but I didn't live with Mark Schwartz.
Oh, I thought who lived with Mark?
PD
Yeah, PD and Schwartzy. The Schwartzes lived together.
So he's actually a friend of Mark Schwartz that Mark knows, and he's running this and looking for more people to play. So we just got on the list and we played. Now I hope none of them are ever watching this. They're the worst collection of poker players that I've ever played with in my life. Inexcusably bad.
Dream game is what you're saying. The only one that would even maybe watch would probably be the PD, and you're not talking about him.
No, he plays in it too sometimes.
But I'm saying you're not when you're saying horrible players.
You're not. He's not one of the players I'm talking about.
He's not one of the players you're talking about.
So me and McNamara and Scott all are up a lot of money in this game, and everyone else is losing. Like between us and these little $25 buy-ins, it's a couple $1,000 between the 3 of us.
Matt, have you ever watched the series Frasier?
I've seen episodes of Frasier.
Okay, there's an episode of Frasier where Frasier's trying to hook up with the woman that runs the old age home. I mean, it's a retirement community. The retirement community. And to go down there and try to pick her up, he convinces his elderly father that he lives with, that he has no intentions to move in there, to come down with him so he has an excuse to talk to the girl. So he brings him down and they start talking. And while he's there, Martin, who's the character that plays his father, sees one of his old buddies there that goes, "Hey, Martin, what are you doing? You want to come over and play in my poker game upstairs?" So he invites him to the poker game. The whole episode revolves around Frasier thinking that Martin really wants to go to the old age home, and he has to be like, "No, I want to live with you." But really what Martin's doing is he's going down there and taking all these old people's money because, as he quotes, "I've been looking my whole life to find a poker game like this. These are some of the worst poker players I've ever seen in my entire life." And the way the scene plays out, where he he's away from the table, and some guy's like, "I'm all in" or something. And he goes, "Look at me, Bob," from across the table. This guy's like, He's like, I call, like without even looking at his cards. It's like one of those like moments where he's like, I'm up like $700 here on these guys.
Yeah.
And then Frasier does like a Frasier moment where he convinces him like what you're doing is wrong. And he goes back there to try to lose. And the guy's just like, he like ends up like putting all his money in. The guy didn't go all in. He like almost did. And like Martin ends up raising it all in with nothing. Like you're supposed to get, he's nothing. He's supposed to be losing all the money back. And all the guys around the table fold to him. And Frasier just goes, have fun, Dad, and just walks away. And later you see in the end of the episode with over the theme song, Martin just counting like tons of money and shit. But like the point of that whole ridiculous story is when you find your way into a game like this, there was a game I found connected to my old drummer's sister that since has passed, rest in peace to the lovely Jen, that she had a couple of friends that would host a poker game every once in a while. And it was one of those games where I had a good read on every one of these dudes that played. And I just knew. And every time I went there, I'd clean up. And I would just, they just couldn't be, they were just like, you're amazing. And I'm not amazing. It was just, they were just really, really bad. I'm a good tournament poker player, a below average cash game player. But in that game, I couldn't lose. Like I literally couldn't lose, and when that game fell apart because well, you're a tight player, and like if you play as a tight player in those games, yeah,
that's how you win. I mean, okay, like McNamara, the best no limit hold'em player I know, he's not a tight player, but he has other skill. If you can go in that game and just know how to play tight, which
but McNamara has a different skill set that other people don't have.
Totally different skill set,
because he's very good at reading hands, and you have to maneuver around that when you're playing with him. And if you don't know him, he's at a very good advantage.
And he knows the right amount to bet if he wants you to call. He knows the right amount of bet to maximize.
He's the prime example of when you're playing a game with him, he's playing against you, not the cards. He doesn't give a shit what his cards are.
Right. So you have to play bad, but it doesn't. That's not the point.
And
the point
he's
is,
lucky.
The game you're playing in, yes, but the game you were playing in, if you know how to play tight, you can just make money. Anyone could do that.
Absolutely, and I was just in the right place at the right time. Of like, if I just went through the motions of playing normal poker, I would be in the final two every time in a 10-person tournament and be at least in second place, and then. Pretty much in heads up poker, people think heads up poker is coin flips. It's not. There's a way of playing it, and I'm pretty good heads up, and I would just dominate whoever. Even if I was way down, I would just dominate whoever I was in. Again, I'm an average poker player, but it was like a dream game you were in,
right?
And that's the point, Matt. Have fun in your dream game. Win big.
Thank you.
The
worst thing we did is get McNamara to start playing with us.
Yeah, dude, you don't invite.
He's a new dad. He's so dumb. We're so dumb because he's a brand new dad. He's got a kid at home. He never has time. So the first three, Scott played for a month and was cleaning up. Then I'm like, oh, I'm going to play. And then I was cleaning up. And then we're like, McNamara, you got to get in here and do this. And now he's like.
Yeah, you don't invite someone like McNamara to play in a game unless you're playing a home game.
Stupid.
Because then you're competing against him too. Because then
I know
he's got enough sass in him that he wants to beat his friends almost more than he wants to win money.
I know.
He wants to embarrass you and show you he's better than you.
I know.
Especially you and Scott.
I know. No, he doesn't. We're all on the same team. We don't collude, but we're all.
Yeah, you're all on the same team.
Right now, there's enough to go around.
Yeah.
We'll see.
We'll hope. Everybody, if you haven't already.
Yeah, at this point here, we've gone way off the rails.
Oh, that's okay. That's okay. That's more what my show is than TV talks anyway. A little after dark conversation with Matt and I here. Everyone, thank you so much for joining me tonight and joining Matt this evening to talk about the Sopranos episode. If you like this, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. Help us get to 14,000. We're at 13,900-ish. Help push it up to 14,000. If you know someone that hasn't subscribed and was watching stuff, hit that. Join it. Have some fun.
And also, everyone, if you're watching this in real time or right around the time when it is, this is 12:30 on 2020, like the end of the.
Yeah, no, we made it. We made it.
Absolute awful year, and the end of 2022. Just.
Yeah, and hopefully we'll be having a lot more fun and doing a lot more of these in 2021. And everyone, thank you so much. Hopefully I will talk to you before the new year, but if not, have a very happy new year. I'm sure I'll be out on a Teflon TV after dark soon too. If you're not subscribed to Teflon TV and you want to see more of me in some silly situations, usually most Fridays or Saturday evenings, after 10 p.m. I join Tony on streams like that, so definitely pop over there and subscribe to Teflon TV and Bridge 4 if you haven't already, who was in here earlier. But everyone, thank you so much. Matt and I will be back after the new year with more Sopranos season 3.
Yeah, I start a new job next week. Let's see how that goes.
Man, I almost want to skip the first episode because it's one of my least favorite Sopranos episodes, but it's still going to be fun. Here we go.
Which one is it?
It's the one, I'll let the music cycle one more time. It's the one where the FBI is setting up the bug in Tony's house, and it's most of it's from the FBI's perspective.
Yeah, it doesn't sound like fun.
No, it's not the best episode. Everyone in the live chat, thank you so much. Mandrell, thank you for popping in there. What? Bloody Talker. Star. Tao, thank you for popping on over. Melon, thank you for the excellent Sopranos contact. AK, love you, buddy. Thank you for jumping on in there. Jay, SM Down. Love you too, buddy. Thank you so much. Carmela is sexy. Gabby S, thank you for popping on in. Killmonger, thank you. Walking David, I see spots, and the real YT. All of you guys, thank you for popping in and joining us this evening. It's always a pleasure. It's always more of a pleasure with you guys. So, everyone, now I'm a little buzzed and drunk. Maybe I'll rant later on something. Talk to you guys next time. Thank you. Oh, Cobra Kai, New Year's Day, and for the patrons, I will be doing live reactions to each episode in the live on camera in the little lens feature thing that you guys have seen me in recently. So for any of the patrons, check out that little extra content, and anyone not, Joe Dirty Locks back in the podcast on New Year's Day. Talk to you later, Matt.
Bye. Are we off?
Not quite yet.
No, all right, look how awkward.
We're off now.